Greetings, Andy Johnson, Minnesota State University. We are looking at more direct forms of assessment, and we have looked at fluency and word identification. We are looking now at comprehension, the ability to create meaning with print. Some simple ways to demonstrate growth, assess learning. Most simple is a cloze passage for grades 3 and above. You have two graded passages, approximately 300 words. You type the sentences on a sheet of paper, and these are graded readers, so you know if it's first, second, third grade, etc. You leave the first sentence intact, but then beginning with the fifth word in the second sentence, you delete every fifth word. You need to have a minimum of 50 words, and students must identify the word that goes in the blank, in the missing word, and the match must be exact to get the correct score, and a cloze would look something like that. Cloze are much easier to prepare and score than informal reading inventories, miscue analysis, or diagnostic reading assessments. And it also assesses the ability to use knowledge of language to create meaning. And of course, some measure of word knowledge is inherent in this type of measures. Independent level is over 57%. Instructional level you can see there, and frustration level. That's why when you get freaked out, oh my gosh, the match must be exact to get the correct score. Well, the levels are much lower. Independent level simply over 57%. Pretty easy. Amaze is similar. It's for students reading below the third grade level, reading passage of about 125 words. Again, after the first sentence, delete every fifth word. Provide 3 alternatives for the students to choose from. You can create these yourself. One will be the correct response. Another one will be a response with the same grammatical function as the deleted word. For example, a verb and a verb, noun and a noun, and one incorrect with a different grammatical function. So it will look something like that. All right? And again, the maze levels: independent level, instructional, frustration level. So you get a sense. And again, you start with a graded passage. Story map for narrative text. And a story map is any visual representation of the story, and I'll show you one of these in just a minute. You create a map that shows the structure of the story with different categories. For narrative text, story maps, keep it simple. I would encourage just a problem, a setting, characters. Keep it simple. Or events, maybe you want to have. After reading, the students then need to fill in the blanks, and they get 1 point for each element correctly identified, or half a point if identified with assistance. Or you can do 2 points for correctly identified and 1 point for assistance. And again, some sort of visual structure. You identify the things needed, and they get points for correctly identifying. And again, you can use your imagination, make it simple. They need to see the visual structure. Anything like that. For expository text, a concept map is a representation that shows the relationship of the major concepts. Show students the concept map. After the reading, the students need to fill in the blanks. Again, get a point for correctly identified elements, half a point if they need assessment. And a concept map looks something like that. Story grammar to assess comprehension. Again, you create your own. Identify the salient elements, the character, setting, events, and endings. You can do this with listening comprehension, silent reading, or oral reading. Students get 2 points for each one identified independently, 1 point for an assistance, and this is the one I like. Keep it simple. Important characters, settings, events, and what happened at the ending. And you can do this with any graded reader. You could use this with a basal text. That is the purpose of reading, is to create meaning with text. And again, at the independent level, reader has a comprehension score at least 90% or more. Instructional, 75%, and frustration below. So you can easily create your own percentage levels points earned, total possible points, and then the percentage. You can create these by yourself. These are some very simple ways to document, demonstrate, assess comprehension. A couple of other ways: checklists. What are you looking for? What are the behaviors you're looking for when you see them? You can have a 3, a 2, or 1, or some sort of system to rate the strength of that response. And again, limited only by your imagination and your knowledge of literacy. This calls for you, the teacher, to be an observer, not a mindless robot following patterns. And again, I like this because it shows the dates. It's kind of a rating. And that is the end.